Hey guys, Zach here with Minimalescapes, and today I'm going to be redoing my mountain terrarium, so let's get into it. So first off, I just want to give the reason why I'm redoing this. As you can see, it's quite dry. There's really nothing left, and that's completely my fault. I let it dry out on accident. I was misting it every day, like 2 or 3 times a day, and then I went away for a couple of days, and as you can see, the aquarium plants really did not like that, and they just completely shriveled up, and I've just kind of left it for the time being because I knew that I wanted to redo it. With all that being said, I'm just going to quickly kind of clean this out. It should only take me like 5 minutes, and then I can get into the new design. Now, as you guys can see, I've kind of cleaned it out, and I've left in some of the substrate. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to turn it so it's this way, because for this, I'm thinking of going to a mini aquarium, sort of something small and very easy to maintain, just because I do know I am going to be away for multiple days at a time, and I want to see this turn into an ecosystem, so I won't be able to mist it as thoroughly, and I don't have the terrestrial plants right now, so I'm better off keeping this more aquarium styled. Now all I've done is just give the front a spray and just made the aqua soil on top instead of the sand. So there's still some sand in the bottom of this, but it should be good. I just wiped the front to get the glass clean, and now I can start the hardscape. So with that being said, I do want to try and make something that's small and impactful, but isn't going to take up too much room inside the tank. So what I was thinking is I've glued together some of these lava rocks in one of my previous videos, and I think just having a nice centralized scape like that is really going to help maintain the tank, or the jar sort of, and keep it simple and impactful. With all that being said, however, it's quite difficult to work inside of the tank, the jar itself, so I've kind of got the hardscape positioned the way that I want it, and all I'm going to do is just take some small twigs and branches, apply some super glue onto them like this, and then attach them to the rock work and hopefully kind of find a flow that works, and then this way I can do it outside of the tank and then place it in like a pre-made hardscape. So let me get the sticks all attached. Now this is just the rough hardscape, very rough. It's still got some glue spots all over, you can see. But the important thing with this is to make it kind of look like, with these sticks coming around, it's important to make it look like it's coming from a centralized point. So I picked this point up here to be kind of my centralized point, and you can see that these come around from back there. This looks like it's coming through the rock, and this one is coming down from the side. It's very important to do that, and it looks like a root coming through the rock itself. So I'm going to give this 15 minutes to dry, and then I'll get it in and move on to some finer details. So it's been about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to grab the hardscape and get it in. Oh. Excuse me. A little more challenging. Oh, come on, there we go. Now, as you can see, some of the sticks did fall off. I'm not going to hide this from you guys, and all I'm going to do is just reattach them. It just didn't fit, and I completely forgot that it's got this small opening up here, and I just made the footprint of the hardscape a little too big. So I'm just going to put it in and reattach it, and then wait another 10 minutes-ish. Alright, as you can see, it's been about 10 minutes, and as you can see, this is all dry. I really like how these sticks all come down, and I'm much happier with the layout and orientation now than I was when I had it outside of the tank. Now what I'm going to do is just add in a couple of smaller sort of lava rocks just around the base like that one, and this is just going to add a little more detail to the surrounding parts, and it's also going to add a little bit more stability to the structure. And I think the finer details are really what make or break a scape. So it's super important to add these in and bring the whole thing together, because before you add in some smaller stones like these, it kind of just looks like the hardscape is just plunked in, but you kind of have this gradual fade now from up here this blocky texture, and it comes down into a much finer gravel before disintegrating into the dirt. And this fade really helps to tie the whole aquarium together and make it look much more like it's one cohesive piece instead of having your substrate here and then your scape here. This fade adds a lot to the tank. Along with this smaller stuff, I have some even finer pieces. This is just a lava rock that I've broken up with a hammer. Super easy to do, especially with how coarse this is. And all I'm gonna do is just kind of dump it into the front. A little bit more. Sorry for the volume, but I'm just gonna sprinkle it in the front. Let it kind of fall naturally, and I'm really happy with how this is looking. It's looking really good. So now I can go on to fill it up. Actually, I made a mistake. Before I do fill it up, there are a couple of parts, as you guys can see in the camera, like here, kind of in here, over here. There's some parts that are kind of rough looking, and I want to get them sort of cleaned up, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to put in some weeping moss into these spots, so into the crevices and the attachment points, and just hide some of the glue. So let me grab that and I will show you guys. So all I'm going to do is just take small clumps of moss and try and fit them into spots that I think it would look good, and just jam it kind of between the rocks, between the sticks, between everything, and just get it sort of looking good and hiding some of the imperfections in the scape. Now that I have the moss in, I can move on and fill up the tank, and then I'm going to keep the planting for this super simple. So let me get this filled and I'll be back. Now with this scape, I do want to keep the planting relatively simple. I already have moss in, so the next thing I'm going to do is add in, I believe, some pogo stem and halfuri, as well as a sort of carpeting plant, either Liliopsis brasiliensis or maybe some dwarf sage for the back, as that does grow a little bit taller. So let me gather those up and I will plant them. Now this jar is done. I'm really happy with the way it's turned out, and just the way that it's got pretty big impact for being super small. Like, you can see my hand for comparison. This is a small jar. It's probably not even a gallon, maybe a half gallon, but the scape still has a lot of character to it, and it has a pretty big impact. So that is everything for this video. The scape was really challenging and it was difficult to work on such a small scale, but I really enjoyed it and I really like the way that this scape turned out. It has big impact for its small size. If you guys have enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.